Let's begin our podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're all about getting to the heart of things, and today we're going to be looking at a book called Spice It Up, a self-help journey with idioms and phrases.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, this one, it dives into how these expressions, idioms and phrases, can kind of like elevate your communication, make it more engaging.
Yeah.
Make it more relatable.
Yeah, definitely idioms. They're kind of like, they're like little nuggets of shared understanding, right?
Right, exactly.
And they add so much color to the way we talk.
Yeah, and I think for anyone who maybe isn't quite sure what an idiom is, it's basically like a phrase where the meaning isn't literal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like break the ice.
Yeah.
You're not actually talking about smashing a block of ice.
Right.
You're talking about starting a conversation, easing tension, making people feel more comfortable.
Yeah, easing into things, exactly. And the book actually starts with that example, break the ice. And it kind of just goes from there. It really dives into how these things work.
Yeah. I think the author called it the secret sauce and the recipe of powerful language or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it's true. They really do add that extra something special.
So where do we want to start with this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many different situations where idioms can come in handy.
Well, I think a good place to start might be with those times when, life gets a little tough, right? Everyone faces challenges, and there's some great idioms for those moments.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when you just have to kind of like buckle down and persevere.
Exactly. And I think one of the most classic ones for that is when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. It's like, don't give up, just push through it.
Yeah, it's a reminder that you have the strength to overcome obstacles.
And it's funny because sometimes when you push through those tough times, you end up figuring things out, like perfectly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there's an idiom for that, too.
What is it?
Hit the nail on the head.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Have you ever been in a situation where you just you had the answer, you knew exactly what to do?
Oh, all the time. I mean, it's such a satisfying feeling, right?
It's like you totally nailed it.
It's like you have that clarity of thought. You see the problem and you address it perfectly.
But then there are other times, when things are tough and you can't just, solve the problem. You just have to kind of grit your teeth and get through it.
Right. You just got to power through. And I think bite the bullet really captures that feeling.
Yeah, bite the bullet. Just accept it and deal with it.
It's interesting, actually, that idiom has a pretty gruesome history.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it supposedly comes from battlefield surgeries. Back before anesthesia, they didn't have anything to numb the pain, so patients would literally bite down on a bullet to cope.
Oh, wow. So it's it's really about facing something difficult head on.
Yeah, exactly. It's about courage and resilience in the face of pain or hardship.
Okay, so we talked about some idioms for dealing with challenges, but what about when it comes to relationships, with friends, family, significant others?
Oh, yeah, there are tons of great idioms for navigating the world of relationships.
Like what?
Well, there's the classic birds of a feather flock together.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's you tend to hang out with people who are similar to you.
Exactly. People with shared interests, values, even personalities.
And it makes you think, right?
Yeah.
Who are you surrounding yourself with, and are those relationships positive?
It's a good reminder to be mindful of the company you keep.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's that other one that we all know, actions speak louder than words.
Oh, that's a big one. It's all about, walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right. It's like what you do is ultimately more important than what you say.
And it's so true. You can say all the right things, but if your actions don't match up, it really undermines your credibility.
Exactly. It's all about consistency and showing people that you're genuine.
Yeah, and building trust, because, trust is really the foundation of any strong relationship.
Okay, so we've talked about, finding your flock and making sure your actions align with your words. But what about when things go wrong in a relationship?
Well, conflict is inevitable, right? But there are idioms for navigating those rough patches, too.
Like what?
Well, one that comes to mind is to bury the hatchet.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It means to let go of a grudge to make peace after a disagreement.
Exactly. And the book really emphasizes that this isn't about weakness. It's actually about strength.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, because holding on to anger and resentment, it can really weigh you down. It can be emotionally draining.
Yeah, I can see that.
So burying the hatchet, it's about choosing to forgive and move on. It's about prioritizing your own well-being and the health of the relationship.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we've covered some idioms for life's challenges and relationships. What about for work and school? Those areas where we're always striving to achieve something.
Oh, there's some great ones for that too. Idioms that capture the hard work, the dedication, the creative thinking that often goes into success.
Like what?
Well, one that I think a lot of people can relate to is burning the midnight oil.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic. It's all about, putting in those late nights working hard to get something done.
Exactly, and it often implies that those late night efforts, they lead to positive results.
Yeah, it's like that extra push that can make a real difference.
It's about going the extra mile, showing that you're committed and willing to put in the time and effort.
But sometimes, even when you're working hard, things don't always go according to plan, right?
Right, and that's when it's important to remember that sometimes what seems like a setback can actually be a good thing in disguise.
Ah, blessing in disguise.
Ah.
That's a great one. It's like that feeling when something doesn't work out the way you expected, but then later you realize it actually led to something better.
Yeah, it's about having faith that things happen for a reason, and that even disappointments can sometimes lead to unexpected opportunities.
It's about shifting your perspective and looking for the silver lining.
Exactly. And then, of course, when we're talking about work and school, we can't forget about think outside the box.
Oh, yeah, it's essential these days. It's
Okay.
all about being creative, coming up with innovative solutions,
Hmm.
not being afraid to challenge the status quo.
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more important in today's world where everything is constantly changing and evolving.
Right, you have to be adaptable. You have to be able to think differently to come up with new ideas and approaches.
It's about pushing those boundaries and not being limited by conventional thinking.
Okay, so we've talked about idioms for tough times, relationships, work, school. What about for personal growth? Like building confidence and taking ownership of your life.
Oh, there are some fantastic idioms for that too. Things that can really empower you and help you on your journey.
Okay, like what?
Well, one that's really popular is fake it till you make it.
Oh, yeah,
That-
I've heard that one a lot. It's like, even if you don't feel confident, just act like you do, and eventually it will become real.
Exactly. And there's actually some psychology behind that. By behaving in a confident way, you can actually start to feel more confident.
It's like tricking your brain a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. And it can be a really effective strategy for overcoming those initial anxieties or insecurities.
But of course, you can't just fake it forever, right?
Right. It's important to back it up with real skills and knowledge.
Yeah.
You can't just pretend to be an expert in something you know nothing about.
That's true. It's about using that initial boost of confidence to actually develop your abilities.
Exactly. And then once you've put in the work and you're feeling more confident, it's time to take charge, to take initiative.
Right, and I think the ball is in your court really
Yeah.
captures that idea.
Yeah, it's all about knowing that you have the power to make things happen, to make decisions, to move forward.
It's about taking ownership of your life and your choices.
Exactly, and not waiting for someone else to give you permission or to tell you what to do.
It's about being proactive.
Yes, exactly. And then as you're taking those steps and making those decisions, it's important to remember that Rome wasn't built in a day.
Ah, yes. Patience and perseverance.
Exactly. Meaningful change and lasting success, they don't happen overnight.
It takes time and effort and consistency.
It's about embracing the journey and not getting discouraged if you don't see results immediately.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about so many great idioms, but how do we actually start using them more effectively in our everyday lives?
Well, the book actually has some great tips for that. It emphasizes that the key is to just start using them, to weave them into your conversations, whether you're at work, at school, or just hanging out with friends.
Yeah, it's about making them a natural part of your vocabulary,
And the more you use them, the more comfortable you'll become with them.
right? And the book even suggests something called the practice corner, which is basically just picking a few idioms each day and actively trying to use them in sentences.
Yeah, it's a great way to really solidify those idioms in your mind and make them second nature.
So it's all about practice and repetition.
Exactly. And I think the most important takeaway from all of this is that learning idioms, it's not just about sounding smarter or more sophisticated.
Right? It's about expressing yourself more effectively.
It's about connecting with people on a deeper level.
It's about adding that extra something special to your communication.
And ultimately, it's about making your interactions more engaging and memorable.
So as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with a little challenge for this week.
Ooh, a challenge. I like it.
Yeah, so think about how consciously incorporating even just one or two of these idioms into your conversations this week might change things a little bit.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like how might it subtly shift how people perceive you? How might it enhance your understanding or your connection with the people you're talking to?
I love that it's like a little experiment.
Exactly. It's about playing with language and seeing how it can impact your interactions. Now
Awesome.
go out there, experiment, have fun,